Welcome to NFL Imperialism. You may have seen this concept floating around YouTube, but I wanted to put my own spin on it by going through every season in the Super Bowl era and hopefully improving upon it. Before we get going, I humbly ask that you consider subscribing to the channel and dinging that bell icon for notifications. This is the channel's primary series, but we do other things as well in both the sports and the entertainment world. We're so glad you're here. Thank you very much. If you're interested in a full thorough breakdown of how imperialism works, feel free to take a look at the first 3 or so minutes of our initial video of the 1966 season. That video is linked on its own in the description below. Right beneath that is a link to a playlist of all completed imperialism videos to date. Otherwise, we're ready to start. Today we're going back to the 1987 season, and you may notice the asterisk on this year, similar to what we had in 1982. This season was also interrupted by a work stoppage, but it was done differently than it was in 82. That season saw 7 games for each team get canceled. This season only saw 1. However, there were 3 other games for each team where replacement players were used. Moreover, not every team used replacement players as players crossed the picket line. So this season was a little bit convoluted and deserves its asterisk. That said, no replacement players were used in this imperialism. 1987 was Super Bowl 22, and it was won quite famously by the Washington Redskins over the Denver Broncos. This Super Bowl is memorable for the 35-point explosion that the Redskins put on in the second quarter, leading to an overall 42-10 victory. Will these two teams be there in the end of this one? If our rankings say so, then maybe not. The San Francisco 49ers were 1987's best team, and of all of Jerry Rice's great seasons, and he had many, this may have been the best. They were upset in the playoffs by the Vikings, who then went on to lose to the Redskins. The Browns come in as the AFC's top team, with the Super Bowl competitors down there at number 4 and 5, Washington and Denver. The New Orleans Saints start coming of age here in 1987. They take the 3rd spot. Looking at the bottom 5 here, none of these teams will be expected to compete for imperialism this season, but the only way to find out is to put them on the field and see what they can do. We're ready to get that going right here with our first wheel spin. The Raiders weren't able to go far enough east to avoid the 49ers here. The number 1 team in the 1987 rankings is ready to take the field and host in our first game. 7-7 ball game in the second quarter. The 49ers from the Raider 13. Joe Montana drops back, takes off, splits a couple of linebackers, gets into the end zone for the touchdown. That will extend the 49er lead to 14-7. Still time left here in the second. The Raiders from their own 28-yard line. Mark Wilson, play action. James Lofton left open down the sideline. Makes the catch, runs away, spins away from the defender, and is able to get into the end zone for the long bomb. That will tie things up here at 14 apiece. The Niners now lead 21-17. From the 23-yard line, Joe Montana will drop back, floats it up to Jerry Rice, beating the defender. That's going to be a tough play to stop for anybody in this season's imperialism. The Niners extend the lead to 28-17. Any attempted comeback by the Raiders was thwarted. That's going to be our final score. The Raiders gave chase in this game, but they never truly were in it. The 49ers, our number 1 team, defeat the Raiders, take over their land, and now control Northern California. 27 of 28 teams remain. The wheel will be selecting the Browns. The arrow is going to take them to the northeast, so they're going to be taking the field here against the already expanded Pittsburgh Steelers. This game will be in Pittsburgh. The Browns lead 3-0 in the first, looking to add more from the 15-yard line. Bernie Kosar will find his receiver Webster Slaughter between a couple of defenders. Gets in for the touchdown. The lead goes to 10-0. The Browns' defense carried the way the rest of the way. The Steelers are able to break onto the scoreboard late, but the Browns handled this one with a final score of 30-6. We already saw the NFC's highest ranked team advance. Now the AFC's number 1 ranked team will advance. The Browns take to the road, beat the Steelers, and take over their land. As we know, when the wheel lands on the Dolphins, there's no reason to spin the arrow. They're going to Tampa Bay to face the Buccaneers. Miami already leads 7-0 in the first quarter. They're going to look to score again. The pitch goes to Lorenzo Hampton, finds his way around the end for the touchdown, giving the Dolphins a 14-0 lead. Tampa Bay's offense couldn't get anything going in this game. Miami coasted the rest of the way. We had a scoreless second half, but the Dolphins come away with the 21-0 victory. The Buccaneers are still in the midst of some very bad seasons, while the Dolphins still retain some of that excellent quality they had earlier in the 80s. They win this game, they take over Tampa Bay's territory, and they now lay claim to the state of Florida. The Chargers expanded a couple of times, leaving them open to attack, and the Rams did just that. This is going to be LA at San Diego for control of Southern California and a little bit more. This is pretty comical. 4th and 29, the Chargers run out a fake punt. Running back Gary Anderson tries to throw the ball into double coverage. Big surprise that didn't work. To make it worse, Jerry Gray intercepts the pass, runs it back 42 yards for the touchdown, opening the scoring of this game. The Rams lead 7-0. The Chargers hang close. It's the fourth quarter now at 17-7. 2nd and 2 inside the 10. Dan Fouts fires to Jamie Holland in there for the injured Wes Chandler. That will make the score 17-13. The extra point gets blocked. The Chargers are going to run out for the onside kick here, and that will immediately be recovered by the Rams. They wind up turning that into a field goal and winning this game 20-13. The Rams have been one of the most winning teams throughout Imperialism. They keep that up here. They take the Chargers off the map and give themselves a nice big piece of land. 5 teams have now been eliminated as we spin the wheel to land on the New York Jets. Arrow's going to take them to the northeast. That's just going to catch the territory of the New York Giants. It's New York versus New York for New Jersey. Late in the first half, the Giants trail 14-10, but they're inside the 5-yard line. Handoff goes to George Adams. He's able to drag his way into the end zone for the touchdown. That gives the Giants a 17-14 lead. They fell behind in this game 14-3, but rallied to score the final 33 points of the game to win by a final score of 36-14. Last season, the Giants were Super Bowl champions, but they weren't able to get a win in Imperialism. This season, they missed the playoffs, but were able to get a home game against the Jets and get their win. They knock the Jets off the map, and they take over the state of New Jersey. Now there are 5 teams remaining. Misspoke on the last one. This wheel's going to land on the Bears. The Arrow's going to take them to the southeast. A little further would be an expansion. As is, they're going to head into the state of Indiana to face the Colts. We've got a defensive struggle. The Colts lead 10-6 late in the third quarter. The Bears have it. This pass goes deep to Ron Morris, makes the catch, picks up about another 20 yards or so after the catch. That'll put the Bears in scoring position. It's now the fourth quarter, and it's 4th down. 9 yards to go. Mike Tomczak scans the field, finds Neil Anderson, who's able to sprint forward for the touchdown, getting the Bears into the end zone for the first time. Lots of scoring followed all of this, but in the end the Bears take care of business by the final score of 25-17. This is still a good Bears team, but they've fallen off some from their dominance a couple of seasons earlier. Going into Indianapolis to face the Colts wasn't a big hurdle for them. They get the job done, and the states of Illinois and Indiana now merge into one under the Bears territory. We're ready to move on to our next game now. The wheel's going to select the Atlanta Falcons. Arrow's going to take them south into the territory of the Miami Dolphins. That is the Dolphins logo there. That was the best way to center it, but it's going to get a lot bigger if they win this game. Atlanta at Miami is next. We're tied at 10 in the second half. The Falcons are driving, first and goal from the 7. Handoff goes to Darrell Green. He gets around the end and he breaks the plane of the goal line. That is a touchdown. The Falcons have gone into Miami now in the second half and taken a 17-10 lead. Miami gets it down to the edge of the goal line. This handoff goes to Woody Bennett. Skates in for the touchdown. The Dolphins aren't going anywhere here. They tied his game up at 17 apiece. We're going to stay in the third quarter now. It is Falcon ball from the 35-yard line. Scott Campbell will drop back, looks for tight end Arthur Cox. He makes the catch, and they're able to catch him before he scores. On first down, they took a sack. It's now the fourth quarter. We got some lag on this play. I have to speed up the film. It's still very laggy. Don't know what happened here, but Darrell Green does get the touchdown. That will give the Falcons a 24-17 lead. Film back on track here. The Dolphins need a response. Dan Marino on the play action. He's going to find Mark Duper on a comebacker. Duper uses his speed to get to about the 2-yard line. Next play, 1st and 2. The Dolphins are going to throw again. Marino this time looks for Mark Clayton. He'll get the touchdown that will tie this game up at 24 apiece. It's going to be up to Miami's defense now to make a play. Atlanta has the ball back. It's 3rd and 9 from their own 35. Scott Campbell, he's looking for receiver Stacey Bailey, and he makes the catch and is able to pick up the first down. 2 plays later, 2nd and 2. They have crossed midfield. Campbell now is going to float this up to Floyd Dixon in the coverage. He still makes the catch. They're now in the red zone. They're in field goal range. It's 3rd and 11, just inside the 20. Another play action. Campbell's going to find Dixon again. Cuts inside. Forget the field goal. That's a touchdown with under a minute to go. The Falcons lead 31-24. The next kickoff, Lorenzo Hampton fields it just inside his own 20. Makes a couple of moves. They hold him up, but he breaks free. He's going to pass midfield. He needs to go down before the clock expires, and he does. The Dolphins will have one play. The Falcons in the dime defense. They break through the line. Mike Gann gets a hold of Marino and takes him down for the sack. And the Atlanta Falcons, bottom-ranked team, go on the road and beat the Miami Dolphins 31-24. It's worth repeating, the Falcons were the bottom team of 1987, reflected by the fact that they got the number 1 pick in the following draft. But in Imperialism, that didn't bother them at all. They take the Dolphins off the map, picking up the state of Florida and the state of Alabama, and the Falcons are now in isolation. We're getting a classic NFC Central matchup here. The Green Bay Packers will be traveling to face the Chicago Bears. A field goal fest in the first half led the way to some touchdowns in the second. This is the second such touchdown by the Bears. Neil Anderson goes up the middle from the edge of the goal line to give Chicago a 20-3 fourth quarter lead. That is going to also be the final score. After the Dolphins got upset in the last round, the Bears become the first team to win a second game in 1987 Imperialism. They take the state of Wisconsin, removing the Packers from the map and expanding their land. The Chiefs expand into Iowa, allowing the Vikings to invade them. That's going to be our next game, Minnesota at Kansas City. We're scoreless in the first quarter. The Vikings, after a touchback, set up shop at the 20-yard line. Play action fake. Wade Wilson's going to throw it deep to Anthony Carter, the playoff hero of 1987. Makes a great play. He's still going. He's going to get away from another tackler. That's going to be an 80-yard touchdown pass from Wade Wilson to Anthony Carter. What a way to start out the scoring. It's now 15-3 in the fourth quarter. The Vikings lead. Kansas City, under a minute left, has a chance. Bill Kenny is going to look for the Nigerian Nightmare. Christian Okoye makes the touchdown catch. That is going to narrow the score to 15-10. We're going to get an onside kick here. The Chiefs lay it down, and the Vikings are going to recover. The Vikings actually lost Anthony Carter and defensive stalwart Keith Millard in this game, but they hold on and win it 15-10. So after a few prior attempts, the Vikings will now notch their 40th Imperialism victory overall. They take over the Chiefs' land and move on. We're about to find out what our next game is going to be. The wheel's going to land on the Bears, just barely. They're going to head to the Northwest to take on their division rival, Minnesota Vikings, in Minnesota. We're tied at 7 in the second quarter. The Bears set up shop at the 13-yard line. Mike Tomczak has time, finds tight end Emery Moorhead. That's a touchdown. The Bears will take a 14-7 lead on that play. The Vikings are going to be looking to respond. They've driven the ball down to the 11-yard line. It's third down. Wade Wilson to play action. He's going to go to his star receiver, Anthony Carter. Touchdown Vikings. Minute 26 left in the half. We've tied things up at 14 apiece. The Bears still have some time, though. They're lined up outside of field goal range. 48 seconds to go. Handoff goes to Walter Payton up the middle. He picks up a bunch of yards here. That will set up a Bear field goal. 17-14 at the half. From the 40-yard line now, minute 29 to go in the third. Wade Wilson is going to look for Anthony Carter once again to catch and run. That's going to lead to a field goal. 17-17 now in the fourth quarter. The Bears have it. The Vikings mix up their defense. From the 36, Tomczak has all day. He's going to go deep to Willie Gault, his speedster. It is a perfect pass. He's able to finish off the run for the touchdown. The Bears not known for such explosion, but they get it here. 24-17. The Vikings now facing 3rd and 20. 2:03 to go. Wilson drops back. He's going to look for Darren Nelson. Very minimal pickup. That's going to make it 4th and 14. This is the game for the Vikings. Looking for Carter. No, goes to Steve Jordan. Makes the great catch. Picks up a lot of extra yards. That's going to keep the Vikings in the game here. They're once again facing 3rd and long. 3rd and 16. Wilson goes to Leo Lewis, the forgotten receiver on the other side. Can he score? Not quite. Oh my goodness. Now it's the Alfred Anderson show. Anderson to the right. He is stuffed. Anderson to the left. He not quite stuffed, but he goes down. Anderson up the middle. This time he gets it. That's going to tie things up, assuming the extra point goes in. It is 24-23 at the moment. Here comes Chuck Nelson for the extra point. And that's not looking great, but it's in. This game is going to overtime, 24-24. The Vikings win the toss, convert some more third downs. They've got it down to the 35-yard line. Pitch to Darren Nelson. Has the edge, has the first down, has field goal range. But the Vikings are going to stay on the field with their offense. The pitch goes to Nelson again. Picks up some great blocks. And he's going to go untouched for the game-winning touchdown. What a comeback for the Vikings at home. This gives them, of course, a 30-24 lead. And in overtime, that is going to be our final score. It was the Vikings who were just on the edge of making the Super Bowl this season, but the Bears were the division champions. That said, the Vikings continue their giant killing. They take the Bears off the map, taking over their territory, 1987 was Walter Payton's last season in the NFL. He went out with 137 scrimmage yards in this game, but it wasn't enough. What a great career for the greatest running back that ever played. We head back to the wheel to find our next game. It's going to be landing on the Giants, and they're going to head to the north to take on the Bills. This will be the Giants' second game of this Imperialism. Buffalo have had to settle for 3 first-half field goals, and it might come back to haunt them now. The Giants from the 15, Phil Simms gets the pass off to Stephen Baker, the touchdown maker. He does get the touchdown. The Giants haven't done much in this game, but they lead 14-9. Now Buffalo's going to need to come back, and they're going to need to get into the end zone. It's 4th and 10. Jim Kelly gets the pass off to Chris Burkett. He makes the catch and gets inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Buffalo has life. Next play. Buffalo in the shotgun. Delayed handoff to Carl Byram. Not a lot of speed, but a lot of space. He gets it to about the 5. Now it's 2nd and 1. 37 seconds to go. Ronnie Harmon around the end picks up some blocks and will get into the end zone. Buffalo's first touchdown of the day, and that proves the difference. They're going to defend their homeland and win this game 16-14. The Giants do not play in New York, and they were not able to claim New York. Another close game in 1987 Imperialism. This one goes to Buffalo as they take over the Giants' land in New Jersey. We're looking to get right back on the field here. The wheel's going to land on the Houston Oilers, and the arrow, of course, is going to take them to the northwest. It's a tale as old as time. The Oilers will travel to Dallas to face the Cowboys. The Oilers have played great but have only settled for 2 field goals, and now Dallas from the 3-yard line will pitch it to Herschel Walker. This is before they traded him. That's going to be a touchdown, and now the Oilers are going to fall behind with this extra point. It's going to be 7-6. Dallas has the ball now in the 4th quarter, 3rd and 9. The conversion here will go a long way to putting the game away. Danny White's going to take off, and he's going to get close, but the Oilers stop him and get the ball back. They have 3rd and 18 from their own 28. Warren Moon is holding the ball, and he gets sacked by Jim Jeffcoat, his 3rd of the game. They're going to trot Tony Zendejas out for a 57-yarder. He's only made short ones in this game. Does he have the leg? Just barely, and it's good. Houston takes a 9-7 lead. Dallas now from the 45. It's 3rd and 9. Danny White under big pressure. Ray Childress takes him down for a huge sack. It's now 4th and 18, 34 seconds left. Dallas can get to field goal range. The pass goes to former Oiler Mike Renfro. Incomplete, and Houston will go into Dallas, not get into the end zone, but with 3 field goals will win this game 9-7. We've got a lot of history to unpack here. This is the Oilers' first victory in Imperialism since 1978. It's only their second since 1970. And with this victory, they take Dallas off the map, and for the first time, the state of Texas on its own belongs to the Oilers. The Eagles are called into the game for the first time. They will travel to Buffalo to face the Bills. The Eagles have it at the Buffalo 44 in the first quarter. Shotgun snap goes to Randall Cunningham. He takes off around right end, picks up a bunch of great blocks, and is able to scoot the rest of the way in for the touchdown. What a play by Cunningham. This gives the Eagles a 7-0 lead. And for the rest of the game, Buddy Ryan's defense took care of business. The Eagles added a field goal and coasted their way to a 10-0 victory. The Eagles get this win, and in doing so, they will take Buffalo off the map and take over their territory. Because this was a 10-point game, that ends our streak of 4 consecutive one-score games and 6 of the last 7. Our next elimination will cut the NFL's 28 teams in half. The Cleveland Browns are going to look to do so on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. Let's see how the bottom-ranked Falcons handle this one. The Browns are in control of this game, leading 21-6 late in the third quarter. Bernie Kosar steps up into the pocket, fires to Webster Slaughter. He gets away and scores the touchdown. That will extend Cleveland's lead to 28-6. The teams will exchange touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Atlanta had a nice run, but they dropped this game 35-13 to Cleveland. It might be easy to forget that the Browns are ranked number 2 in 1987. They have a chance to make a lot of noise in this imperialism. They will take Atlanta off the map, and their land now stretches from the top of Ohio to the tip of Florida. After expanding a couple of times, the Rams became privy to an invasion, and that's exactly what the 49ers are doing here. 49ers at Rams is next. The Niners are holding on to a 3-point lead in the fourth quarter. From the 3-yard line, Joe Montana will drop back, look for Jerry Rice, and of course he makes the catch, scoring a touchdown, giving the Niners now a 31-21 lead. They would tack one on here, and after trailing at halftime, a 4-touchdown explosion in the second half gives them a rather comfortable 38-21 win. The 49ers are looking to make amends from their 1987 season in this imperialism. So far so good, they get their second win, they go into the Rams territory, take them off the map, and now have the largest piece of land in the West. The reigning Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins will be taking the field for the first time. They're going to be attacking their NFC East rival, the Philadelphia Eagles. Defensive battle, we're tied at 3 in the third quarter. The Eagles from the 10-yard line, Cunningham lifts a pass up to Kenny Jackson for the touchdown. The home crowd goes wild. The Eagles will take a 10-3 lead. Washington is finally starting to wake up against this defense. Taking it down to the 23-yard line, Jay Schrader will drop back, finds Gary Clark in the middle of the field, and he does the rest, gets into the end zone. This is the first touchdown the Eagles have allowed in this season's imperialism. It is now 10-9, and it's going to stay 10-9. The Eagles blow up the extra point. That's Reggie White. Washington has the ball back, though. They're at the 21-yard line. Schrader finds Art Monk on the crosser for the touchdown. That will now put Washington in the lead 15-10. They go for 2, and they don't get it. So the Eagles now have a chance to take the lead from the 6-yard line. Randall Cunningham, he's going to look for Mike Quick. Throws into a lot of coverage, incomplete. Fourth down, the game comes down to this. Cunningham's going to try again, looking for Keith Byers. He makes the catch but gets taken down immediately. And the Redskins come from behind to win this game 15-10. You may be wondering why Jay Schrader was in the game. Yes, Doug Williams was the playoff hero and the Super Bowl MVP, but he was not the primary starter for Washington in 1987. Jay Schrader was. He performed well, but Doug Williams came in and did his magic come playoff time. All that said, the Redskins will take over the Eagles' land, and other than them pesky Patriots, they are the last team standing in the Northeast. We're getting the Cincinnati Bengals on the field for the first time. They'll be traveling to their in-state rival to play the Cleveland Browns. We've got a close game in the fourth quarter. The Browns lead by 1 from their own 20-yard line. Bernie Kosar is going to fire it deep to Webster Slaughter. He's alone. He makes the catch. It's going to be a foot race to the end zone, and Slaughter's going to win it. An 80-yard touchdown pass puts the Browns up 31-23. They run away with it from here, scoring 2 more touchdowns in the fourth, winning the game 44-23. The Bengals led this game at halftime and looked like they were still in it late, but the Browns overwhelmed them in the end. They take over the rest of Ohio, and they are once again looking like a major threat to win it all this season. A lot of teams we haven't heard from yet, and the Lions would be one of those teams. The Arrow's going to take them to the Southwest, so they're going onto the field to play the Vikings. Minnesota holds a 14-point lead in the third quarter from the 12-yard line. The pass is going to go to Anthony Carter, bodies the defender for the touchdown. Carter has been a monster in Imperialism this season, like he was in the '87 season. The Lions put some points on the board. They fell behind 21-0, closed the gap, but never was able to take the lead. The Vikings take the victory 42-27. The Vikings are certainly getting back to their winning ways. They repel Detroit's invasion, take over their land, and we now have 10 teams remaining to fight it out for the championship. Two teams that had been expanding are now going to see the field for the first time. The New Orleans Saints travel to St. Louis to face the Cardinals. Late in the first half, New Orleans leads 10-7. They're going to have a chance to attack some on. Eric Martin on the delayed route is able to get into the end zone with only 5 seconds remaining in the half. New Orleans will take a 17-7 lead into that half. St. Louis now will be looking to respond. They are at the 9-yard line. 3:40 to go. This handoff goes to Earl Farrell. He's able to turn the corner, gets down to the inch line. He will close it out on the next play. So we have a game here. The Saints still lead, but it's 17-14. We're now going to head to the fourth quarter. New Orleans facing 3rd and 10. Bobby Hebert looks for Ruben Mays, overthrows him. That's going to lead to this punt. Cedric Mack will be back to receive it. It's a decent punt. Gets it at the 31-yard line. He's going to cut out toward the sideline. No one from New Orleans is able to get him. He winds up going out of bounds inside the 30. 1st and 10. Neil Lomax hands it off to Earl Farrell again. He's able to get away from a couple of guys. Gets inside the 5-yard line. Minute and a half to go. Very next play, might they go to Farrell again? They do. Cuts it outside and will score. The Cardinals now take the lead 21-17. The Saints are going to be looking to respond. Bobby Hebert in shotgun from the 35-yard line. A field goal won't do any good. Short pass to Eric Martin. He gets the first down. Time's ticking though, 33 seconds to go. From the 24, Hebert into shotgun again. Looking for Ruben Mays again. Overthrows, and this time it's intercepted. Carl Carter makes the play, and the Cardinals, using a second half comeback, win this game 21-17. The Saints are the first top 5 team to go down this season. They tried to invade the Cardinals, it didn't work. They will take over New Orleans land, and wouldn't this be a fairy tale story for the Cardinals in their last season in St. Louis to somehow come up and win this championship? This arrow spin needed a photo finish, and after the Patriots expanded into Connecticut, they will now hit what looks like the Hamptons in Long Island. That is Washington Redskin territory. The Patriots must take the field in Washington. After a scoreless first quarter, Washington has the ball at the 30-yard line of New England. Play action. The pass in the flat to Ricky Sanders, uses his speed, gets down inside the 1-yard line. On the very next play, George Rogers didn't get far, but got far enough to score. Washington breaks the deadlock, takes a 7-0 lead. The Patriots now look to respond. They've driven it down to the Redskins' 17-yard line. Steve Grogan is going to find Stanley Morgan, and this game is tied up at 7 apiece. We will now head to the third quarter. The Patriots have the ball, have driven it down to about the 10-yard line. Steve Grogan is under pressure, tries Morgan again, but this time it's intercepted by Barry Wilburn. Huge play that will keep the score tied at 7. New England now in the fourth quarter have crossed midfield. The late handoff to Mosi to Tupu. That play blew up. That ball is loose. Washington recovers, taken down inside the 20-yard line. We got about a minute 20 to go. He's still on his feet, by the way. And they finally get him down. A minute 11 to go. First play. The handoff will go to George Rogers. Gets around the end. Other than his earlier touchdown, hasn't done much. Gets it to the 2-yard line. First and goal, under a minute to go. Washington's going to throw. Schrader looks for Gary Clark. Touchdown, Washington. It was a defensive battle, but it was nip and tuck all the way through. The Redskins are able to hold on and win this game 14-7. As is their wont, the Patriots used their geography to their benefit, hanging out in the game longer than they maybe should have. But they went into Washington and put up a fight, but at the end of the day, they lost the game. The Redskins will take over New England's territory, and they are now the last team standing in the Northeast. The Cardinals are called back out. They already took out the number 3 team in our rankings. They now have a chance to take out the number 2 team, Cleveland Browns, but it's going to have to be in Cleveland. Can they do it? Short answer, no. It's in the third quarter. Cleveland leads 28-0. They're looking to pile on. This pass goes to Webster Slaughter. Goes up and gets it in the end zone. Touchdown, Cleveland. They extend their lead to 35-0. The Cardinals will avoid the shutout. The Browns win this game 42-8. It's the end of an era for Cardinal fans in St. Louis. With this loss, they go off the map. Cleveland takes over their territory, and starting next season, the Cardinals are going to make their home in the state of Arizona. Only a quarter of the teams now remain. The Seahawks are chosen for the first time. They're going to head southeast, and this photo finish lets us know that it's going to hit the 49ers territory. The reigning Imperialism champions will travel to San Francisco to face the 49ers. 7-7 ball game in the second quarter. The 49ers are at the 7-yard line. Roger Craig's going to go around the end to pick up 7 points, dragging his way into the end zone, giving the 49ers a 14-7 lead. The Seahawks are coming right back at him, though. They've driven it down to the 43-yard line. Dave Craig on the play action. Going to throw it deep to Ray Butler. He makes the catch. Foot race to the end zone. Ooh, he just gets stopped inside the 1-yard line. It took until third down, but the Seahawks punch it in with John L. Williams. That will tie this game up at 14 apiece. The 49ers now are going to get the ball back, but unable to move it. They're punting with under a minute to go. The Seahawks break through the line, and they block the punt. They take over. They get a field goal out of that. It's 17-14 now late in the third quarter. From the 10-yard line, Dave Craig trying to get out of the pocket, but he's taken down by Michael Walter. Another field goal for the Seahawks, not taking advantage of these opportunities. It's now 4th and 3 for the 49ers in the fourth quarter. Hand off to Tom Rathman. He picks up the first down and gets quite a bit more down to the 35. Still trailing 20-14 down at the 13-yard line. Joe Montana looks for receiver Mike Wilson. He gets the touchdown. The 49ers will kick this extra point and take a 21-20 lead. The Seahawks need to respond. They can get 3 here. It's 3rd and 10 from the 42. Craig is going to look for Steve Largent. That's incomplete. 4th and 10 now, and it looks like they're punting. Interesting decision, trying to give the ball back to the Niners. Maybe they're faking it. No, they punted away. This is going to go for a touchback, but this Niner offense ran down the clock, kicked the field goal, and win 24-20. Very passive decision there by the Seahawks. It costs them. They lose their land to the 49ers, and we will have a new Imperialism champion this season. We're getting closer and closer to the end here. The wheel will land on the Redskins. It's going to head southwest on the arrow, sending them into the territory of the Cleveland Browns. That game is next. Washington trying to get their offense in gear here in the second half, trailing 7-3. This pass to Gary Clark is intercepted by Frank Minifield. He's able to break free, and he is gone. Nobody's going to catch him. Frank Minifield and Hanford Dixon made for an amazing corner duo this season and throughout the late 80s for Cleveland. That touchdown makes it 14-3. We head to the fourth quarter where Ernest Biner's going to take this handoff around the end. He's going to get away from everybody and score this touchdown. That's going to take us to our final score of this game. The Browns hold the homeland, winning 21-3. For the second straight season in 1987, the Browns lost in the AFC Championship game to the Broncos. This season, it was because of Ernest Biner's goal line fumble, simply known as the fumble. He's trying to make amends. The Browns are trying to make amends. They start that by taking the Washington Redskins out of the game, taking over their territory, and in back-to-back games, our defending Imperialism champion and our reigning Super Bowl champion have been eliminated. Our next game gets us down to the Final Four. The wheel selects the Oilers. The arrow's going to take them northwest. The Oilers have done well to get this far, but now they have to travel to San Francisco and face the mighty 49ers. The Niners lead by 10 in the second quarter. From the 44-yard line, Joe Montana looks downfield, throws it up to Jerry Rice. That's always a good idea. He goes up and makes the catch, comes down in the end zone. That gives the Niners a 17-0 lead. They tack one on before the half, and that's all they needed. A shutout victory at home, 27-0 over the Oilers. And with that 49er victory, we are indeed down to our Final Four. The Oilers go off the map. The 49ers take over the state of Texas. And we've got a very interesting Final Four here. The two teams that played in the AFC Championship game, a team that played in the NFC Championship game, and the number one overall ranked team. The Cleveland Browns and the San Francisco 49ers may have short-circuited on their way to Super Bowl 22, but in Imperialism, there are two highest-ranked teams. They will now take the field in San Francisco. The 49ers are wasting no time in the first quarter. They've got 3rd and 6 from the 32-yard line. Joe Montana will find Jerry Rice, and he will do the rest, outrunning all of Cleveland's defense into the end zone. The 49ers get on the board. They lead 7-0. Cleveland has a pretty good offense as well. They've taken it down to the 7-yard line. The 49ers call an audible on defense, but Ernest Biner takes it right up the middle, dives in across the goal line, and we are tied at 7 apiece. We're now going to move ahead to the second quarter. The 49ers facing 3rd and 10. Not 3rd and goal. They can get a first down here. Montana will fire to Rice in the end zone, but knocked away by the defender. Leads to a field goal. The Browns now have 3rd and 14. Kozar's looking for it all, though. Fires to Webster Slaughter in the end zone, beats the defender, gets the touchdown. The Browns do that before the half expires. They lead 14-10, and they now have the ball in the second half. From the 26, the handoff goes up the middle to Ernest Biner, spins away, gets some blocks, and is able to outrun everybody else. The Browns have jumped out to a 2-score lead, 21-10. With the third quarter now about to expire, the 49ers need a play on 3rd and 10. And when they need a play, they're going to go to Jerry Rice on the crosser. Using his speed and agility, he's getting away from everybody. They finally track him down. It takes a few guys. 46 yards. Change of direction now in the fourth quarter. This handoff goes to Roger. No, it's a play action. The pass goes to Mike Wilson. The attention was on Jerry Rice, and Wilson gets away. The Niners close the gap. It's 21-17. They're lining up for the kickoff, and they're going to kick this onside. I think that caught Cleveland by surprise, and they get it back. 2nd and 10, 3.5 minutes to go. The play action. We saw this play already. They're going to throw it to Wilson, a diving catch for the first down. 34-yard gain. It's now 1st and goal. Montana drops back. They leave Rice alone in front of the end zone. He makes the catch and scores. The Niners, just like that, have jumped out to a lead. Can the Browns go against their norm and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat? They're going to try. They've got a 3rd and 2 back at their own 28-yard line. Kozar looks for Slaughter, and he overthrows him. 2:12 to go. It's 4th down, and they're punting. They're making the same mistake the Seahawks did earlier in this imperialism. Could this be? It is a fake. Direct snap to Ernest Byner, and he picks up 10 yards. That's going to keep this drive going. It is now on the 41-yard line. They're going to pitch to Byner. He's done yeoman's work on this drive. Gets around the edge, gets around a couple more guys, and he goes past the 10-yard line to the 7. 47 seconds to go. The handoff here is going to go to Kevin Mack up the middle, and he take him down at the 2. 2nd and goal, 37 seconds to go. Kozar drops back, looks for Slaughter. It's incomplete. 3rd down coming up, and the Browns are going to settle for the field goal. Oh my, a 20-yard attempt by Jeff Jager, and he misses. Unbelievable. The 49ers get as lucky as you can get. They win this game 24-21. There's a mechanism in this game where the offense essentially gives up and accepts the field goal when there's under 30 seconds left in the half. Normally you would think a team would try at least one more play there, but then again you also have to remember that Marty Schottenheimer was the Browns coach during this time. The Browns remain snake-bitten. The 49ers take over their land, and they stretch from Washington to Massachusetts down through the southern corridor. Our final arrow spin of 1987 Imperialism requires a photo finish. From the center of the 49er logo, that will bypass the state of Kansas and hit the Broncos territory, getting the Broncos on the field for the first time. That means the Minnesota Vikings, finalists in Imperialism in 6 of the first 11 seasons, will now be finalists again 11 seasons later. Will they play the Broncos? Will they play the 49ers? Let's find out. Jerry Rice will quickly get the 49ers on the board in the first quarter, and later in the first quarter on almost an identical play, will do it again. Just like that, the 49ers are out to a 14-0 lead. We're now going to jump ahead to later in the game. It's 24-11. The Broncos are making a comeback here. Gene Lane goes up the middle, scores the touchdown, and with the extra point, it's 24-18. They're going to try an onside kick here. If they can get this, this would be a tremendous come-from-behind victory. They lay it down, but the 49ers will recover. They wind up tacking on another touchdown. They get out of there with the victory, 31-18. The Minnesota Vikings pulled off an incredible upset in the 1987 playoffs, winning in San Francisco. In real life, the 49ers got their revenge in the next season. Now in Imperialism, they can get that revenge right here in 1987. The 49ers and Vikings are going to square off for the 1987 Imperialism Championship. We just now need to spin the wheel to find out where this game is going to be played. And that spin will be landing on the 49ers. The game's going to be in Minnesota. It's a rematch of the 1969 Imperialism title game. The Niners looking for their second championship, the Vikings their fourth. The 49ers get the ball first, sending some guys in motion. Montana drops back, is steamrolled by Chris Dolman. This ball is picked up by Keith Millard. They can't get him down, and the Vikings on defense have jumped out to a 7-0 lead. From here, we're going to join in on the Anthony Carter show. This is Anthony Carter making all kinds of catches against the 49er defense for all kinds of yards, just like the 87 playoff game. That's a touchdown, by the way. They have nothing to stop him with. This pass goes to Carter. He breaks behind a defense. They can't catch him. A 60-yard touchdown pass. We're still in the first half. The Vikings lead 21-0. There's still some time left in the half, but the Niners are backed up pretty far. They're going to run the ball to Roger Craig. He gets around right end, picks up a first down, gets a lot more, dragging, breaking tackles. This is an incredible run by Craig, giving the Niners a chance. That was 54 yards. Next play, Montana drops back. Jerry Rice has about a quarter step on a defender, and that's all he needs. What a catch in the end zone. What an important play for the Niners. They've cut it down to 21-7. In the second half now, the Niners have 3rd and 11, backed up at their 6-yard line. Montana's going to look for Rice again. He makes a leaping catch on the so-so throw, and he picks up a lot of yards after the catch. The Niners are threatening here. They've gotten it down to the 7. It's 3rd and 3. They're going to try Craig, but the Vikings defense is up for it. Field goal makes it 21-10. From the 44 of the Niners, Wade Wilson steps up, throws to Alfred Anderson. Now he's picking up a lot of yards after the catch. Gets it inside the 10. That leads to a field goal. 24-10. The Niners only have 1:45 to go. 3rd down. Montana's going to look for Mike Wilson in the end zone. It's incomplete. 4th and the season here. 4th and 5. Montana looks for tight end John Frank. It's close. Here comes the measurement. It's short. And the Vikings, as they did to the 49ers in the playoffs in 1987, win by a final score of 24-10. And it's not just a playoff game that they won. It was the Imperialism Championship. And just like the Browns were snake bit, it looks like the 49ers were too. The Minnesota Vikings come from outside the top 5 with an 8-7 regular season record and win Imperialism for the 4th time. Given the way the 1987 season went down, not just with the work stoppage and the replacement players, it was a fair bet that neither Super Bowl contender would make it to the end in Imperialism. And that came to pass with the number 1 ranked 49ers making the title game. But they fell victim to the Minnesota Vikings, who just have a knack of winning in Imperialism when they haven't been able to do so in the real world. This Vikings roster is talented though. We've seen the exploits of Anthony Carter on offense, but never to be overlooked is this offensive line, anchored by Kirk Loudermilk at center, and fortified by tackles Tim Irwin and Hall of Famer Gary Zimmerman. The defense also has a Hall of Famer in Chris Dolman, and the rest of the D reads like a list of the most underrated players of the 1980s. Keith Millard, Henry Thomas, Scott Studwell, Jesse Solomon, Carl Lee, and the criminally underrated Joey Browner. This was a fine team that found a way to peak at the right time in Imperialism. Our scores from 1987 run the gamut of high and low scoring, but we had a lot of close games all the way throughout. Over half of the games in the first half were of the one-score variety, and in the second half, that didn't slow down too much, with the 49ers in particular involved in 2 thrillers against the Seahawks and the Browns. But they couldn't carry that momentum on Minnesota's field in the championship game. The Vikings won 4 games this season, a number that was outdone by both the 49ers and the Browns. But they take the top spot in the standings by virtue of their championship game victory. The Bears and Redskins grabbed 2 wins of their own, while overall 13 teams won a game, one short of half the league. The Cowboys maintained their lead at the top of the standings, with the Vikings breaking the 40-win barrier and making things closer. 11 teams have an overall winning record, and by virtue of the Houston Oilers winning a game this season, the San Diego Chargers now take sole custody of the bottom spot, trailing teams like the Seahawks and the Buccaneers, who only debuted in 1976. Thank you for making it this far in the video. I'd greatly appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and share with a friend or two. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. We'll take one more look at the Purple Rain covering the United States of America. For the 4th time, the Minnesota Vikings are Imperialism champions. I hope you enjoyed our 20-second Imperialism. Be sure to check out other Imperialism videos as linked in the description below. Thank you again, and I hope you have an awesome day.